Hey guys, it's Rekka, back again from Anime Back When. I don't really want to waste too much time and battery. You guys see the title, you guys know what we're doing today. I want to give everybody a happy New Year's, and pretty much this is everything I have as far as January the 1st of 2022. This is my complete anime collection. I've been collecting since maybe October, November, or maybe summer of 2015. So I just want to show, I did a few of these videos before, and I didn't really like how I did the one in 2020 or 21. So this is the definitive Anime Back When complete anime collection for 2021. I also want to thank everybody for, if I haven't already, I want to thank everybody for hitting 1,000 subscribers. It means a lot. I started the channel just under 5 years ago. And yeah, so let's get started. So on the top shelf over here, so I have 3 shelves just about complete. So yeah. Alright, so starting off up here, we have 3x3 eyes. 3x3 eyes, I believe I did it as one of 3, a 3-in-1 review for a video that I did for Halloween. So yeah, that's 3x3 eyes right there. It was cool. Little demonic little show. 8-man after. Pretty cool. I remember the story not being that dope, but in general, the animation and stuff was cool. This is 90s stuff right there. Focus. Afro Samurai Resurrection. Most of you guys already know what that's about. Agent Aika. Dope little 1997 girls with guns with a lot of fan service. A ton of fan service in this one. This is Oh My Goddess, the first OVA from 93, I believe, which was called Oh My Goddess before it became Oh My Goddess for the anime. And this is the movie right here. I don't have the TV show yet, hoping to get on that soon. Next up, this is like the first anime I ever reviewed on this channel, which the review might not even be up anymore, but this is Air Gear chipboard box. Great box set. One of my first anime my dude James put me on back when we were like in 6th grade, or no, maybe not 6th grade, maybe like 8th grade or something like that. 2005-6, I think it came out. Great anime. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Akira. This is this is actually one of the first DVDs that I had, actually. This is one of the first DVDs that I grabbed back in like maybe November, like late November of 2015. So that's dope. Alien 9. I got this like 6 months ago. I did a review for it, so you can check it out if you haven't seen it. Weird show. Angelic Layer. This is Clamp. Man, this camera's getting heavy to hold, but this is Clamp right here. Y'all guys know what Clamp is. There's a couple of other stuff that you'll see. I really hope this doesn't have too much focus issues. Angel Links. You know that this is a side story spin-off of Outlaw Star. So that's that right there. Angel Sanctuary, kind of weird. And the Matrix, you guys know what that is. Rumika Takahashi Anthology. This is only 1 volume of that. I actually have the full box set coming in real soon. I'll probably do a video of that. So this is Appleseed, the original 80s OVA. I think this came out in like 86, something like that. Yeah, and then Appleseed. I think there's another, this is the 2000s version. I think there's another Appleseed called Ex Machina or something like that. Argento Soma. So these right here, Argento Soma, Arjuna, these are, wow, this is getting real heavy. These are these early 2000s, you know, animes that were like inspired by stuff like Evangelion and stuff like that. Like Argento Soma is a mecha. Yeah. I can't wait to get to a lower. Oh man, I'm gonna drag this down for a quick sec. Whew! My arms are tired. Man. Anyway, show must go on. So Arjuna. So Arjuna is a Hindu kind of oriented anime. Like a lot of the philosophies and stuff like that it gets into is like Hinduism. It's environmentalism and all that. So if you're into that type of stuff, saving the world, there's some great animation there. And I'll show some of the artwork. I think the brightness on the light might be too much, but yeah, Arjuna is great. That's Armitage. Y'all guys, most of you guys that like this type of anime, older anime, you guys know what that is. Secret World of Arrietty. Spoiler alert, I have every Ghibli movie in this collection except for Tales from Earthsea. Attack on Titan, Season 1, 2, Season 1, Part 1 and 2, Season 2, and then Season 3. And then the movie, the live action movie. I'm looking forward to getting Season 4 eventually. Ayane's High Kick, I have a review, check it out. Bible the Second, Grappler Baki, the original OVA from '94, and then the 2004 complete series for Baki the Grappler. Finally, I'm down here. My arms could rest a little bit. Shit. Anyways, we have Basilisk complete series. Not my favorite series, I'll be honest with you. It has all the tropes that would make it a cool little samurai kind of thing, but it's just not my cup of tea. Never really was. Bastard. Y'all guys know what Bastard is all about. Dark Schneider. Battle Angel. So this is the movie that James Cameron was supposed to do. Yeah, it's probably better that I hold the light like that. This is the movie that James Cameron was supposed to be like the main director for years. For like 20 years he was supposed to do the live action for this, and I think he passed it off to somebody else who ended up doing the movie. And the movie, I never saw it, but the movie was supposed to be really good. So yeah, that's Battle Angel. Great OVA. I'm so mad that this is the only anime that we got from this. Is a 1-hour OVA. Gunmei or Gundam, as some of you guys call it, that's the original manga. I believe it's still going today, but this is the only thing from 1993. One little OVA. It's all we ever got, which is just crazy to me. I'm gonna try to turn the brightness down on this a little bit. Let's try it right there. Next, Battle Royale High School. Pretty crazy. Not the best story or anything, but it got some interesting action and all of that. So yeah. Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad. And Berserk. This is one of the prized possessions of my collection for sure. So now we're gonna see a few prized possessions in here, and Berserk is definitely one of them. Such a phenomenal, show, first of all, but this box set right here, this box of war, incredible. You know what I mean? Incredible. So I waited years to get my hands on this, and I have it now, and I'm really happy to have it. And yeah, I used to have Berserk just in its normal form with the 6 volumes that some of you guys might actually have. But one day I actually found somebody online who was selling the box of war for like $50 with the DVDs and everything. So I ended up getting that, and I actually had Berserk twice. Actually, I ended up getting this in a haul too. But nobody, if you see this video and you're interested in this, I'll give it to you for a very, very cheap price. I'm talking about very, very cheap. I have it on eBay now. Just hit me up. Send me an inbox on Twitter or Instagram and we'll talk. So next, Better Man. Better Man, like Argento Soma, is another Evangelion influenced anime from the early 2000s. Actually, this could have been the late 90s. This could be like 98, 99. I don't remember, but let me actually look down here. I believe it's like 98 or 9, but yeah, that's Better Man. Big O, I'm not going to talk too much on Big O. Y'all guys know what Big O is. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Y'all guys know Big O, Big O 2. I remember getting these at a thrift store back in the day. I think it was like, what, volume 1, 2, 3 of each show was there, but volume 4 for Big O 1 and 2 was missing. So I just hopped online and I was lucky to find volume 4 for both seasons for like $3 a piece. So I banged it out. Biohunter, this great little so Biohunter, from what I remember, Biohunter is about, I've seen it a couple times. It's about a couple of guys that are molecular scientists or something like that. And basically there's this demonic virus going around that's basically possessing people, pretty much. And these guys are investigating it, and they basically gotta fight off, you know, typical 90s demon OVA stuff. 90s horror, thriller-ish OVA stuff. Black Heaven, this is one of my favorite, even though I only seen it one time, it's one of my favorite, you know, animes for a more mature audience. Not so much because of blood and gore and sex, but more so just because it's coming from the perspective of an adult. You know what I mean? And I really like that. It's a middle-aged man with a family as the protagonist. And just some great stuff that go on. And he has a passion for... It was very relatable for me. He had a passion for music or whatever. He was like a guitar player in a band, I believe. And yeah, there's a lot of cool... There's some weird stuff to the story, but it's very unique. And I really, you know, recommend you guys check that out. Black Lagoon. Oh, man. This was a little disappointing to me. Some good action or whatever, but I wasn't really a huge... It wasn't my cup of tea, you know. Roberta's Blood Trail, the OVA. Black Magic M66. This is like the anime Terminator. Most of you guys have probably seen this already. This DVD is a little expensive, but yeah, I got it for pretty cheap. Bleach, we don't really need to talk about Bleach. This is the first season, Soul Society arc. The Assault, Missing the Bout, which for obvious reasons, because it's just some filler, so no real reason to have that in there. With 2 of the movies. Next is Blood the Last Vampire. Most of you guys have seen this movie. I will tell a quick story. I initially didn't have the slipcover for this. It was just the bare DVD. I'm not gonna try to push it out, but I went to a thrift store, and I didn't steal or anything like that. But I found Blood the Last Vampire there with basically the slipcover after I've had the movie for years. So what they also had there, they had a copy of GTA 5, which I needed a new disc for. So I took GTA 5. This is at a thrift store. They're both like the same price. So I took GTA 5, took the slipcover off of the Blood the Last Vampire, put it over the GTA 5, and then bought it like that. You know what I mean? So I get my new GTA 5, or not 5, I think it was GTA 4. I get my new GTA 4, and I get this slipcover, so I don't have to buy the DVD a second time. So I got my monies. Yeah, so that's the story behind that. Next, moving down. Oh, let me see if I should kneel. Yeah, kneeling is cool. So Blue Gender. Some blue stuff here. Blue Gender. Great show. This is about some kind of apocalypse where these mutant, basically aliens or something, wiped out the world. Or there's a disease. A guy gets frozen. A couple people get frozen or something like that because he has a disease and they want to like freeze his body. And then he wakes up. I think they were freezing his body to try to come up with a cure. And then he wakes up and the world is pretty much like an apocalyptic zone because of some alien creatures that take over or whatever the case may be. And basically he and this girl and the team, they got to kill these aliens. It's a pretty good show. I'm not going to lie to you. Blue Seed. I haven't seen this in a while, man. But Blue Seed is some more 90s, you know, alien demon killing girl. She's, you know, she has powers passed down from a previous generation or something. Blue Sub 6. This is Gonzo's early work. The early days of Gonzo, before they got to Gantz or anything like that. This was one of the early stuff that they did. Some of you guys might have seen this on Toonami. I did not. Hanayori Dango, Boys Over Flowers. This is the complete series. believe an ex-girlfriend of mine stole one of my volumes. I had to replace it, but I believe it's all here now. I think it's what, 12 volumes, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yep. And this is pretty, this is, you know, Hanyori Dango is pretty, if I remember, this is about a girl, because I always get the story mixed up with his and her circumstances. But this is a story where I believe this girl's parents send her to a school where basically they send her to the best schools even though they can't afford it. And when she gets to these schools, you know, there's a lot of drama, and there's, you know, the F9 or whatever the group is called, and there's just, it's teenager drama, but it gets to very disrespectful and disheartening levels. And if you're into that level of drama, check it out. Bubblegum Crisis, I don't really want to talk too much on this. Most people already know what Bubblegum Crisis is all about. You know what I mean? 80s stuff, very inspired by Blade Runner, which is an old 80s movie. This is pretty much all of it. Bubblegum Total Crash, Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040, and that's the main line Bubblegum Crisis stuff. I do believe there's more side stuff, like you have the AD Police and stuff like that. I don't have any of the AD Police stuff, but there's one more that we'll get to later on in the collection that's connected to the Bubblegum Crisis world. So Burst Angel, this is pretty cool. This has some pretty cool I think it's called Bakuretsu Tenshi. I think that's the Japanese name. Yo, it has some pretty insane action sequences and stuff like that. It's dope. It's very dope. I really appreciate this animation and art style. I don't remember the story being too incredible. Busankin, a lot of you guys might know this. I remember this from back in the days, always seeing it, you know, on these anime websites and whatnot. Made by the same creator as Rurouni Kenshin. And you probably would never know, because it's nowhere near as good as Rurouni Kenshin. But yeah, that's that. Sukicagiran, I've talked about this a few times. I've done a review on this. It's a great anime. She's basically the female Kenshin. Short show, but this is more Chambara. If you know what Chambara is, that's like samurai cinema, which is like these old school black and white comedy samurai shows from Japan, and it was kind of an ode to that. So there's a lot of comedy and there's a lot of lightheartedness as opposed to your standard, you know, serious samurai sword wielding character show. So it's unique in that aspect. Came out in the year 2000, right at the turn of the century, so it has that blend between the digital and the 90s, or not the 90s, the film, you know what I mean, hand-drawn animation. So it looks really good. Case closed. I don't really want to talk too much on it. I've talked about this so much. I do want to do a video on it, because I've talked about it in other videos as it being like one of my favorite shows. I've never done an actual video on it, and I will very soon. And a fun fact, this is actually has become rare in North America now. So all these are out of print. You used to be able to go. I'll tell you, I went into these movies. I was going into HMV in Canada back in 2016 and 17. And these movies were like 2 for $20. You know what I mean? $10 pretty much a pop. All these movies, except for the first two. The first two have always been, oh, these are not even in the right order. 14 Target, that's the second movie. Time Bomb Skyscraper is the first one. Let's switch it up. But whatever. So the first two movies, those were always out of print as long as I've been collecting them. So those were kind of always out of print. But the other four, movie 3, 4, 5, and 6, you could get those for 2 for $20. I remember getting these in a haul, which I think it would have worked out like $10 each. But I bought these in store, you know what I mean, $10 for all 4 of them. You know what I mean? And these were going for like 2 for $30. You know what I mean? Like, I literally picked up season 1 and 2. I picked up season 1 first for like $20. Then I remember buying like season 2 for $20, and then bought season 3, and then I bought season 4 and 5 for like $30 for the both of them. Today, to get Case Closed today, Case Closed is about, like, you can find it for like $80 to $100 for one season. You understand? Yeah, case closed has gotten incredibly expensive in North America. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It's very crazy. But yeah, I have it. I have all of the North American releases. I still need to get on these the newer movies that they've released on Blu-ray from Discotek and them. But I'll get them eventually. I'll get them eventually. But the OG case closed, I'm just happy to have this because, man, I remember putting my little sister on it and we were watching it together. And some of the, you know, I need to do a rewatch of this. Unfortunately, with these mystery shows, with these intelligence mystery shows, sometimes you gotta wait like 5 years before you watch it again. Like there's still, you know, a lot of these cases from like season 1 and maybe a couple from season 2. I still remember who did it, you know. But as I get into season 3, 4, and 5, I don't really know nothing. But these first 2 seasons, I've probably seen way too much. So yeah, that's case closed. Next, some more Ghibli stuff right here. Castle in the Sky. I need to watch this again because I didn't really, you know, it wasn't really my thing the first time I watched it. Most of the Ghibli movies that are everybody's, you know, top 3, top 5 are not my top 3, top 5. They're great movies, but Castle in the Sky is not really, you know, my pick for top, you know, 3 Ghibli movies. Cat Returns. This is the, I guess the sequel from Whisper of the Heart. This is definitely not in the top 5, but it's still a good movie. So Cat Soup, you know, a lot of people have talked about this. Is like 28 minutes of, I can't tell you, and most people can't tell you either. Next, Chance Pop Sessions. I remember getting this about a year ago. This was an anime that I remember I got this while I was in the process of moving, and like I was totally not focused on anime at the time. And I remember it sitting on the shelf, and then after like months, I finally like picked it up, and this was like the first anime I watched to get me back into anime. It was crazy. Chobits. I actually got this maybe 6 months ago at a thrift store. All 6 volumes were just sitting there, $4 a pop. And I picked them all up. What is that? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. And I think, yeah, I think it was tax free when I bought it or whatever. Or I had like a 10% discount. And yeah, so it's always dope to go into pawn shops and thrift stores and see a complete anime series. You know, you don't gotta order it online or you don't gotta pay no crazy price. You just buy it right then, take it home and watch it. It was fun to do that. And Chobits, that's I believe Chobits is another clamp, right? Yeah, Chobits is another clamp. Chobits. What was Chobits all about again? Chobits was that guy that had the robot in his, or the girl in his room, the robot in his room, or whatever the case may be, and you know it treads the fine line of him falling in love with her, but she's not really a human, and you know it's one of those little cute stories. You know, Chobits was good stuff. Oh, with Chance Pop Sessions. Chance Pop Sessions was, so this is what was this about again? This was about a girl basically trying to become a musician. And all the, but it, in a different way. It was more on some like, not so much like a Beck, like not so much like Mongolian Chop Squad, more on some, like more in like an old school kind of way, where she has her little agent and it takes you through her little performance. It's very strange. I'll say that. I you know, a lot of you guys might look into it and you might like the obscurity of it. It's been a while since I watched it, but it's a great show. Claymore, they tried to say that this is like the female Berserk. Yeah. Most of you guys who haven't seen this will probably be upset at the ending. But it is what it is. It's been a while since I watched this too. But, you know, this does go into that Berserk world of like, you know, an OP person with a sword chopping up demons and shit like that. So, yeah, that's it's a pretty good show, I must say. It's a pretty good show. I really enjoyed it. Let's get that back in there. Come on, get in there, get in there, get in there. Think I got it now. Gotcha. Get your ass back in there. Code Geass, I'm not a Code Geass fan at all. I know what they say. I've tried it 3-4 times. I've watched it one time. I tried to go back and watch it really deep for the I just can't get into it. I really don't like it. How dare you guys put this up against Death Note? I'll never understand it. But yo, it is what it is, man. Corpse Princess. Who did this again? I think Gainax did Corpse Princess, actually, if I remember. Yeah, and this is one of those ones that I've had for a long time. I've had Corpse Princess for a long time. I only watched it one time. It was pretty good. Cowboy Bebop, we're not going to get into this, okay? You guys seen it 1,000 times. I used to have so this was actually one of the first anime I ever bought. And I bought it around the time I bought Akira. This is like mid to late November of 2015, man. And this was when I was first getting into older anime. And I was just so intrigued and I wanted to watch everything. And all the shows we always talk about. I had just rewatched the Yu Yu Hakusho for the first time in a few years, and I was just like bitten by that retro bug. And this was one of the first ones that, of course, when you type in top 90s anime, this is one of the first ones that come up. You know what I mean? Cowboy Bebop. And I got the original version that looked like the records. I had those, and then years later, I found this at a thrift store, brand new, sealed, for $4. So I bought that. I was able to save space because it was looking more like this on the shelf. The records kind of look, the original version kind of looks more like this. So I had given these, I believe I gave these to my sister. I don't know if she ever watched it, but I gave it to her. And then I had the movie I got like a few years ago, maybe like in 2017 or something like that, at a pawn shop that I ended up working for. It was in there for like $2, and I got it with Perfect Blue. So I got Perfect Blue in this for like $4 that day. You guys already know, man. Cowboy Bebop is one of the most classic anime. Of course, it's still, it's a little overrated years later in hindsight, but it's still, you can't take it away. You can't take the legacy away from it. It's still very classic. Some of those episodes are some of the greatest episodes in anime. Episode 1, episode 2, all of that. So, yes, Cowboy Bebop forever. Cyber City 08 to 808. I mean, most of you guys have seen it. This is the one that had that scene where they said, a vampire would jump out and bite you on. Yeah, that was that one. Classic stuff. So basically these guys have these crazy sentence times. They're in prison or whatever, and basically they can go out and do these bounty hunting missions in order, like they're doing crazy thousands of years of prison time. But if you go out and do these bounties, that could probably wind you up dead anyway. If you do enough of those, you might get 70 years off here, 80 years off there. So that's pretty much what that is. D Gray Man. One day I'm gonna complete the whole D Gray Man collection, but they're a little bit more too expensive for my liking, but these 2 seasons have been out for years, and for maybe damn near 10 years they didn't, maybe not 10 years, maybe 5 to 7 years, they didn't have season 3 and 4 out, and then they went back and picked it up and put out season 3 and 4. Funimation released it. So, and D Gray Man was one of those another one my dude James put me on back when we were like 12, and I always hated it. I still need to go back and try and give it a full watch through, but I always was just like, man, I don't really like this show. But apparently it's supposed to pick up after like the first season, and that's why you're supposed to stick it out. But whatever. D and Angel, not really my thing, but a lot of you guys, this is a lot of people's like early exposures to anime, really. A lot of you guys, D and Angel was like a nostalgia thing from like the early 2000s. Me personally, I didn't really know about it until like 5 years ago, and when I finally watched it, I wasn't really a big fan. The Dagger of Conway. One thing I gotta say about this, great animation for the time. A lot of cool like sceneries, and this, he goes through so much places, and he goes through all types of beautiful wilderness places. There's a lot of cool like action scenes, and it's great. But what I gotta say about Dagger of Conway is way too long. That's something I gotta say. Daiguard. So Daiguard is known as basically when did this come out? Like 99, I think. So basically, when Neon Genesis Evangelion came out, and you're gonna hear Neon Genesis come up a lot when it comes to these '90s, these late '90s mechas. This is why Argento Soma, like I said earlier in Better Man, I said this. So when Evangelion came out, it pretty much altered the way majority of mechas were being written and designed in the late '90s. But for Daigar, they basically purposely, I believe, took it and said, let's totally do something different from mecha just in general. Different from Gundam, different from everything. And basically, they took a salaryman, and they basically took the combination of like a salaryman story and like blended it together with mecha. So really, you got a salaryman and some salary people, and they incorporated the whole mecha thing with that. So it's always been known to be unique for that reason. How am I gonna get this back in here? Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay. Hopefully that's good. Oh, we running low on that. I might have to actually come back and do this later on. But whatever. Anyway, so that lighting looks a little bit better now, I believe. So next we have the Daichis. So any of you guys that follow this channel, you might have seen that I actually did I put this on a list of 3 anime I know you have not heard of. And absolutely nobody that commented or reacted to the video had seen. Some people said, yeah, I kind of heard of Human Crossing, but this one right here, no, it wasn't Human Crossing. It was another one. I think it was, I don't know if it was Saber Marionette. Some people were like, yeah, I heard that one, but this one right here, nobody had heard of this. And this is such a great, I'm telling you guys, it's a Super Sentai type of anime. It's about a dysfunctional family that basically gets summoned and given like Super Sentai powers, basically to destroy alien attacks. The alien designs kind of remind you of like an Evangelion, but this is Super Sentai. This is not mecha, so it's not Evangelion in any way, shape, or form. Like the personalities of the characters, like I can't even describe it to you. You guys just have to watch it. You have to watch it. The Daichi's Earth Defense Family. You have to see this. It is such an incredible show. I only watched it one time back when I got it back in like 2000 and what? What year is that? 2017 maybe. And I got it for $2 a pop at the same pawn shop I was working at. Somebody had came and dumped off their whole anime collection, and that was in there. So dope. Dondo, this is I'm not gonna lie to you. I just bought this because it was something different. I'm into sports, anime. You know, I'm into all the sports stuff that all of you guys are into, and this was something different, so I gave it a shot. It's a golf anime. You know, and it looks sick. If you look at that little picture of the main character, and it looks dope, right? Nah, not at all. Hyper Combat Unit Dangayo. This is an awful OVA from the 80s. Dark Myth, another awful anime. Awful OVA. Dark Side Blues, I have a video for this that you can check out. Dark Side Blues comes from that realm of, you know, these dark show, you know, stuff like Vampire Hunter D, stuff like Pet Shop of Horror, all those type of shows from the 90s, those type of OVAs and movies. It comes from that realm. I think I call it the Urban Vision realm, to be honest with you. So Urban Vision is where are they? Biohunter is Urban Vision. So there's the Urban Vision. Let me pull this out. Here's the Urban Vision logo right there. Can you see that? Yeah, there's the Urban Vision logo right there. Urban Vision was known for doing a lot of the dark stuff. You know, they had Vampire Hunter D. They had the original. They had like Wicked City and all these shows. Demon City Shinjuku. Now these have been re-released on different like Dark Side Blues is now with ADV, or was. So, but at the time they were the ones that I knew for doing more darker OVAs and stuff. So yeah, Dark Side Blue, I really don't understand Dark Side Blues. It's like it you understand what's going on at points, but then at other points you're like, yo, what is going on? You know? Dead Man Wonderland, most of you guys know this. Starts off really promising. I remember when this was actually a new anime coming out weekly back when I was in high school. What was that, like 2012? And it started off good, but then it just kind of falls off after a while. Death Note, we're not going to talk about Death Note. You know, most of you guys, pretty much all you guys have seen Death Note. You know what Death Note's about. You know that the first half, the L arc is you know, that might be one of the greatest arcs in all of anime. And then it falls off when Nier and all these guys come in, and Higuchi and all these guys come in, but nonetheless, it's still classic overall. You know, it ends off pretty classic. So that's Death Note. I'm not going to talk about that. We've been talking about Death Note for over 15 years. Yeah, that's, you know, that's Death Note. Demon City Shinjuku, US manga release. Most of you guys have seen that. I don't really need to talk about that. You already know. Demon Prince Enma. So this is one that nobody knows about too much. I believe this, I don't want to sound too okay, yeah. So there it is right there. I was literally about to say it, but I didn't remember. So this is a Go Nagai anime. So this is something from Go Nagai. So for you guys that are into stuff like Devilman and all that type of stuff, this is like a nod in that direction. You understand? So yeah, Demon Prince Enma. Descendants of Darkness. Pretty much a bunch of occultist and vampire shit in there. I did a small video about this that you can get more in depth on what it's talking about. I feel like it's good for as like it came out in the year 2000, so it was a good turn of the century type of anime. I'm not sure how it would hold up now. Devil Hunter Yoko. Apparently this is like supposed to be one of the first 80 vision anime that they did back before it was like when it was still VHS. Yeah, Devil Hunter Yoko was like one of the first ones that they did. You know. So yeah, it's basically about a girl, typical, she finds out she's a regular school girl, then she finds out that she's, you know, the next descendant to take on some demon killing powers, and she gets the powers and she now has to hunt demons, and you know, so a more dark magical girl type of thing. And speaking of going to Guy earlier, this is the original Devilman OVA. I'm not gonna pull that out. I did a video on that, which ended up leading to controversy. But yeah, that's the original 1980s Devilman OVA, which is pretty dope. But I did have my criticism about it in my video. And next we have Devil Lady Complete Collection. I waited a long time to find this. Like, this is one of those things, if any of you guys ever like had your heart or mind on getting something for years, I'm talking about 2-3 years that I waited, maybe 4 years almost. Nah, not 4. Actually, yeah, maybe about, I got into 2020. I probably was looking out for this since 2016, and I never wanted to pay the $60-$70 for it. I always wanted to pay like 20. So one day I got it for 20, and it came in, and pretty much it's just an episodic, you know, female version of Devilman. Pretty much. You know what I mean? Let's take Devilman and let's make him a female. And it came out in the late 90s and all of that. Next, the first season of Digimon. I don't really need to talk too much on that. I grew up on Digimon. I always was, you know, I'm somebody that's a very go against the grain type of person. So I always took a liking to Digimon as like the obscure alternative to Pokemon. You know what I mean? I never really played Pokemon games until later on, like when I was older. You know, I was born in 96, so I grew up like right at the age where I was starting to get into video games. Pokemon was going crazy, but I didn't really care about Pokemon that much until I was like 12 or 13. I started playing Pokemon games. So at that time when Digimon was going on, I always was into Digimon, and I was into you know, they had these Digimon games on like these like I remember playing a Digimon game on like foxkids.com and whatever, and I was into that, you know. So that's why I had to pick up this first season when I was able to get my hands on it for a good price. One day I'll actually be able to sit through and watch it. I just, you know, I'm a little bit too old to be amped about going and watching over Digimon. It has to be like a nostalgia moment, you know. Oh man, this battery's about to die, so I'm probably gonna have to come back to this after it dies. But dog, so this is Dirty Pair Flash. I was not a fan of this at all when I got it. Very, very kind of boring. But apparently the actual Dirty Pair from the 80s is, because this is like the 90s Dirty Pair. So this was like the 90s, you know, answer to Dirty Pair. But the original 80s one is supposed to be the one that's really popping, you know. But I really wasn't a fan of Dirty Pair Flash. Dog Warriors. What was this about again? This was like a bunch of... I'm not even going to try to... It was something about some dogs. Like some dog powers and shit. And it was boring. Like that, the idea was there, but it was just a boring ass anime to watch, man. My God. Domain of Murder. This is a dope little 1 hour. I did a video on this a couple of years ago now. Basically, it's about a guy that's... I don't know if this is gonna be a spoiler or not, but hey, if you don't want to, just skip 30 seconds ahead. So his daughter and him and his son got in an accident when they were driving or something, and they ended up hanging off of a cliff. And he basically had to sacrifice his daughter to get weight off of him and his son, because his daughter was on the bottom holding his leg. So he had to basically get rid of his daughter to save him and his son. And it just leads to him basically acting crazy or whatever the case may be, because he wasn't able to live it down. And basically it's just a mystery to figure out that, you know, and trying to kidnap his... I'll leave it there. But man, it was for a 1 hour random thing that nobody knows about, it was really good. DNA Squared. Man, this is like the prime of the 90s right there. Okay guys, so it's 2 hours later, 2.5 hours later, so I'm back at 8. Batteries charged up for the most part, and we were right here with DNA Squared. So DNA Squared, I'm not gonna act like I remember. All I remember is that this guy was in love. This main guy right here was in love with a woman, and then you got a robot that comes in or something like that. It's only one time I watched it, like a few years ago, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, I don't think we need to talk too much about this section right here. Y'all guys already know. Most of you guys, this is probably your introduction to anime. It was my introduction to anime with this guy right here, followed by this guy right here. We hated this guy right here for years, until one day when I was like 17, my dude, James again, was telling me how stop hating on the show. You never watched it. It's actually really good. So I binged through Dragon Ball Z, watched GT, and GT has become one of my favorite anime from the golden era. So classic, just a classic series. We got the complete blue bricks for Dragon Ball right there. All of Dragon Ball Z, the orange bricks. I remember taking my time throughout 2016 and 17. Actually, these two bricks right here, the first two, I had actually bought them on Kijiji, and that was my first like actual real anime purchase. Like, so I had bought my mom had bought me like one of the Pokemon movies on VHS when I was a kid. So obviously that was like my first anime that I ever owned, like on home media. And then I bought in 9th grade, this is probably 2010, the end of 2010, I had bought one volume of Yu Yu Hakusho because I had watched it that same summer. So I had bought one volume of Yu Yu Hakusho. But then years later in 2015, this right here, the first two orange bricks, was my first like true, I want to start collecting some anime now. So I have nostalgia for collecting as far as that goes. And then throughout 2016 and maybe coming into 2017, I would just buy random volumes wherever I could find them, or wherever I could find deals on them. Some of them I bought at HMV. Some of them I might have got on Kijiji for really cheap prices. Same thing with the blue bricks. I remember going into a little pawn shop and getting, like, I think season 2, I think I got for like $10 or something like that. And then, so it was cool collecting this stuff back in 2016 and 17, you know. I remember going in $46.99. I paid for the complete GT series, which was on sale at the time because it was going for like $70. I remember going in and buying the movie pack. I bought the Dragon Ball pack. Then I bought one of the Z 4-packs. Then I bought the 5. And I remember just taking my time for those 2 years, man. And that leads me to down here. History of Trunks. I still need to get Bardock, you know, father of Goku and all that. I need to get my hands on that real quick. But well, we have Battle of the Gods right there, and just for shits and giggles, I have Evolution, of course. So that's all of my Dragon Ball that I have, you know. And the Dragon adventures continue with Dragon Half. Again, most of you guys are well aware of what this is. It's supposed to be very funny. I'm not really a too much of a humor type of guy when I'm watching anime. I more look for humor when I'm watching sitcoms and things like that. But nonetheless, this is pretty cool. It's not long. I believe it's only an hour, like 2 episodes, 2 half-an-hour episodes. Just classic stuff, man. Classic stuff. I've had this for a while. I believe I got it at Anime North in Toronto in 2017. No, 2018, I believe. So, yeah. This is Eat Man 98. Need to get on the first Eat Man. This is pretty cool. This is about a guy that basically, Bolt Crank, I believe his name is. Why won't this focus? But Bolt Crank is a man that basically can eat rusty objects like, you know, nuts and bolts and things like that, and screwdrivers and shit like that, and it basically it manifests into his ability. So typical shonen stuff, but this is like a late 90s anime. So this is a late 90s anime. So this gives you the feel of a Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, what else? Outlaw Star, Big O. You get with those anime right there, you get exactly what I'm talking about. So it gives you that kind of vibe, you know. So yeah, that's Eat Man 98. I do want to watch the original Eat Man someday. Eden's Bowie. I don't even want to talk about this. It's not that good. From what I remember, is what there's like a land above them or something like that. This is another late 90s anime. Elfen Lied, a lot of people know Elfen Lied. You know, one of the most edgy anime of the early 2000s. You know, there's a lot that goes on in here. Yeah, that shit goes crazy with that girl right there. So yeah, that's Elfen Lied. Man, this is one of my favorite anime ever. AIC. AIC is one of the most classic anime studios. You know, to me, AIC is underrated, and I believe that they're up there with Gainax and people like that, because AIC is the ones that brought us these guys right here, El Hazard, and there's one other classic series that we'll get to towards the end of the collection. But yeah, AIC brought us that. Black Heaven that I showed you earlier was AIC. And a lot of just classic OVAs and stuff that you guys love, you know. So yeah, AIC, man. El Hazard is a beautiful anime. El Hazard is basically about it's an isekai, you know, one of the early days of isekai, where basically it starts off in a school setting, and then this guy, his teacher, his rival, and a couple of other people get whisked away into the land of El Hazard against the beetle, you know, people, or whatever the case may be. Wow, these are very dirty. I need to clean these off. Well, I don't even really want to touch this shit. But seriously, check out El Hazard. These beetle people, sorry, I didn't finish my thought there, but the Bugram tribe, if I remember. You know, I might have mentioned El Hazard in a couple of videos. But yeah, so this is the TV series. This is very similar to Tenchi. Very similar to Tenchi, where you have the original OVA, you know what I'm saying, harem type of thing, and then they go and they do a full TV series, basically expanding on what you watched in the OVA. But just like Tenchi, the TV series doesn't compare to the OVA as far as the animation and the budget and all of that. So that's El Hazard. There is another TV series for El Hazard, a shorter, a 13-episode one called El Hazard: The Alternative World. This box set right here, which is a little bit more it's one of these expensive Pioneer sets. Anybody that collects, you guys know Pioneer, especially you guys that might be older. You guys remember Pioneer their box sets used to be expensive before it turned to Geneon. Man, I heard it used to be like $150 for one of these. So yeah. Next, Ergo Proxy. More psychological, not really my thing. Ease Otherwise, not really my thing. Escaflowne, another isekai. You guys already know what that's all about. Hitomi. You know, she's running one day, running track and field, and whoop! Next thing you know, she sees this dude right there, next to her right there, and she's like, what's going on? And next thing you know, she's in the land, a new land. This is the movie. Great animation on that one right there. Next up we have Eureka 7. I got this at Anime North 2019, I believe. I'm pretty sure this was 2019 I got this. Uh-oh. This light just fell down on me. Let's put you back over here. Cool. So yeah, that's Eureka 7. Eureka 7 is another one that I watched back in 2015. For the first time, my dude, James again, that I mentioned earlier, he was into that. He put me on and I checked it out and I really enjoyed it. Fatal Fury, the movie, right there. Nothing special, it's okay. Fate Stay Night, I still haven't seen this because I've been waiting to get my hands on Fate Zero. But that Fate Zero DVD set is very expensive from Aniplex. So, yeah, that's why I haven't seen it yet. But as soon as I'm not really into Fate. Anyway, I've tried Fate back, you know, maybe 5-6 years ago. I tried to get into it. It was kind of just generic to me. So, I didn't really like it. But, you know, yeah, when I get my hands on Fate Zero, I'll definitely try to get into Fate. Oh, man. Y'all guys know I love this so much. Flame of Recca. You know, am I gonna sit up here and try to convince you that it's one of the greatest anime and so legendary? Absolutely not. But it's definitely an ode. It was one of the last of its kind in terms of the shonen battle, you know, formula. Directed by Noriyuki Abe, who did Yu Yu Hakusho. So it damn near really is like a spiritual successor to Yu Yu Hakusho in a lot of ways, especially having the tournament arc, the second half, and everything like that. But you know, it's just classic shonen stuff. You know what I mean? It has a classic soundtrack, a classic vibe. The characters, you love the characters. The relationship between Rekka and Domo is just like Kuwabara and Yusuke. You know, it's beautiful. You know, you got a dude that's very obsessed with ninja. You know, and more like ninja, like classic ninja from the 1600s or whatever the case may be. He's very obsessed with that, and for a very good reason, because he's really actually from that era. And if you want to know more, get into the show. Very classic stuff to me. Fooly Cooly, not really a big fan, but you know, I had to get into Fooly Cooly. I had to check out Fooly Cooly because I'm a big Gainax fan. As we'll see that I have damn near all there. Well, not really. I'm missing a few things, but the stuff that's very important to as far as Gainax goes, I have all of that. From Up on Poppy Hill, I actually haven't watched this movie yet. This is the last of the very important Ghibli movies that I have not actually seen. You know, I haven't actually seen this yet. But I just recently got this in. Plan on checking it out. Full Metal Alchemist, the rare and out of print Blu-ray set that was only out for a couple of years. Yeah, I got this for $20 off of Kijiji. Somebody on Kijiji sold me it for $20. You know, so I couldn't turn it down. I had seen this show for the first time. I was trying to get into Full Metal Alchemist for years before I finally even finished. Like, I'm talking about here's the Conqueror Shambhala. Still need the OVAs. And I still need, and then this is, hold on, let's rearrange some stuff here. And then this is the complete Brotherhood. And these are very out of print also. Full Metal Alchemist as a whole is kind of just a little expensive to get. But yeah, I'm talking about high school was when I was first trying to get into Full Metal Alchemist, because everybody was saying how it was one of the greatest anime, or Brotherhood was the greatest anime, and blah blah blah. And I just couldn't get into it. And I was like in college before I finally finished the first one for the first time. So yeah, Full Metal Panic. I won't really talk too much about Full Metal Panic. Most people have seen it. Come on, man, focus. There you go. Most people have seen Full Metal Panic already or know about it. So that's Full Metal Panic. I actually have a review for that first season. Then there's Fumofu, which is like they literally took the seriousness of the first one, turned it into a complete comedy, like literally like parody comedy. And then I have this pulled out because I still need to watch this. And this is the second season. This is the second raid, as it's known as. So, gotta adjust this light right here. That should be fine. But yeah, so that's the second raid right there, and I need to watch that. So let's push that back in for now. Fushigi Yugi Man, this is another isekai, one of the earlier isekais from the 90s. Two girls. They're Japanese, but they go to a library and they pull out a book and get whisked away into ancient China. So, you know, I've always kind of had a thing for when the Japanese blend, you know, Japanese culture characters with China. You know what I mean? You know, they're definitely two different nations with two different cultures, but they're very similar. So it's always crazy to see. Hold on one second. I'm going to adjust this before it falls off. Stay. Anyway, so yeah, that's the first box set. Apparently these were very expensive when they first came out in like 2000 or 2001. I found them for good prices online. I used to have I sold them off now. I had the remake ones that Anime Works had put out. I had those. And then these are the OVAs. Gal Force, Eternal Story, not too much to that. Gantz, complete. You know, that's Gonzo right there. The Blue Sub 6. I really like Gantz a lot. I really want to rewatch it and do a review for it. Garzy's Wing, which is supposed to be one of the worst anime of all time. Gasaraki. Very, very boring. Gatekeepers with Gatekeepers 21. For a long time, I just had the first like volume or two for Gatekeepers. Come on, man. Okay. I had the first volume or two for Gatekeepers, and you know, it was 8 volumes, and they were some of them were a couple of them were hard to come by, so it took me a while to collect this, but I ended up getting it all, and it was cool. And then I have an old review, a few years old now, that I did for Generator Gaul right there. I really like Generator Gaul. It's a really good series. It has some time travel elements to it. 3 Bishonen guys show up from the future because something crazy is gonna go down, and it gets with some crazy. They meet some crazy girl, and yeah. Genshiken, don't need to say too much on that. Geo Armor. This anime right here, I had never heard of this before. I couldn't even find it on my anime list, but I got it in a haul, and I'll be honest with you, it was not that great. But I mean, it's cool to have, seeing as nobody really knows about it. Kishin Corpse. Get Backers. Oh man, I love this show. The first season was really dope. Second season was not bad, but it wasn't what the first season was. Yeah. So that's Get Backers. Man, this camera is just ridiculous. Okay, we back on. So here's my Ghost in the Shell collection. You have the original Ghost in the Shell, which I've had for years. I got this on I got this at a I got this at a thrift store for like $1 or something like that, like literally. And then I found this like maybe a couple years later at another thrift store. I never had intentions on getting it because it's very boring. It's overly psychological, the second one in a sense, but I got it at a thrift store, so it was cool to complete the collection. And then I took took my time and got Standalone Complex and Second Gig. I'm not really a big fan of these. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I know, you know, everybody loves everything to do with Ghost in the Shell. I really only like the movie. You know what I'm saying? I really only like the movie. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about Ghost in the Shell. The movie is very classic, the original 1995 movie. I had heard that the live action movie wasn't that great. I never saw it, so I can't speak on it. Giant Robo, the animation. So this came out in the 90s, and it was an old, you could tell by the character designs and the way they're dressed and everything. It was an ode to like those old 1940s type of you know, anime. Let's adjust the brightness there. That should be pretty good. Yeah, it was an ode to like those 1940s, 50s, 60s, you know, mecha, if you want to say that. Like very, very classic mecha designs and styles and stuff like that. So it was an ode really to that era of anime, I guess. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I think it was pretty cool. Focus. Yeah, I think it was pretty cool. And you got the whole thing right there from Anime Works with the Ginrei special. So that's, yeah, Giant Robo, man. Golden Boy, you know, great, you know, Golden Boy, it's been a while since I watched it. Maybe I should do a rewatch. But Golden Boy, I did a whole EP some years ago around the theme of Golden Boy, which was basically, you know, I share so much with this character in terms of the way my mindset is and the way I'm just so aloof to society. The way I just, you know, I love Kintaro so much and I love this show so much. And I just feel like more people should know about it. The people that should know about it, but I feel like more people should know about this. You know, it's a very, very, very good story. You know, it's about a guy that, I don't know if he was about to be a doctor or a lawyer, but he was about to be done with school, with years and years of school, and he was getting a good education and everything, and he just disappeared before he graduated. And basically he got on his bike and there's like 6 different stories of him going around Japan, and just, he's a little bit of a perv. You know, they put that in there to make it more, you know, fun. But yeah, I love this show so much. Great show. Next is Grave of the Fireflies. You know, all you guys already know this. Ghibli movie, sad, blah blah blah. We don't really need to talk about it. I really want to rewatch this. It's been a while. Great Teacher Onizuka. I have the same things to say about Great Teacher Onizuka that I have to say about Golden Boy. As a matter of fact, if you've seen one and haven't seen the other, you need to go watch the other one, because they're basically, I almost want to call it Great Teacher Onizuka the spiritual successor to Golden Boy, in the sense of it's almost like it's not related at all. There's 2 different stories going on, but it's almost like a full 42 or 49, I forgot how many episodes it is. It's a full TV experience version of Golden Boy, even though it's a totally different story, different character, whatever, and probably different studio that even, you know, did it, but it feels the exact same. You know what I mean? It just feels like Golden Boy if Golden Boy had 40 something episodes. You know, the teacher, pervy teacher, he's kind of similar to Kintaro in that kind of a way. You know, he's a blessing in disguise, even though all the students hate him and all the teachers hate him and they try to get him up out of here. But, you know, I'm telling you, there's more to this guy than people give him credit for. Gunbuster, I have a pretty sad story about this, right? So I had this set, and you guys know that this set has been rare for years. And Gunbuster is coming, I don't know if it's out yet, but it's coming back out on Blu-ray with an English dub this time, which I can't wait to get that. But when I found that out, I went and I sold this on eBay. I wanted to sell this quick before the price became devalued, and I sold it for a decent price. And I don't know if somebody, you know, you never really know with these things, but the guy that I sold it to, you know, hits me back talking about how it was damaged during shipping or whatever, and You know, it got this little damage right here. This little damage right there, if you could see that. And he's like, you know, he wants his money back. And, you know, I don't know if he sent me his version. I never checked no serial code. I don't know if he sent me back his version, you know, and said that, you know, my version showed up damaged. You know, you get what I'm saying? I don't know if it was that, or I don't know if they actually, you know, they didn't care for it during handling and shipping, and it ended up that way. But yeah, I ended up, you know, I got my money back or whatever, but I ended up losing some money on it. So, you know, yeah, so that's Gunbuster. Oh, also, this is a Gainax anime, and it's a very very good anime. You know what I mean? Very for 1988, it had very solid animation. You know, some good action, some good, you know, mech battles with some aliens or whatever. It's really engaging. You know, once it might be a little bit slow in the beginning, but once they get out there into space, man, it really picks up. So here's my Gundam collection and all of that. I don't have the original. I'm still trying to find the original 0079. I was supposed to get it 2-3 years ago, and I kept on hesitating because the drive was like half an hour away, and I was just like, man, I'll get it later. And then the guy ended up saying it was a good deal too, and the guy ended up, you know, getting somebody else to buy it after I was dragging him along for like months. But hey, you know, you live and you learn. So I still hope to get, you know, the complete 0079. This is like an incomplete, you know, volume. It only has like one disc in there that doesn't work or something like that for collection 1. So one day I'll fill in the blanks and I'll get the 0079. But right next to it, and if you notice, I have this in the Universal Century order and then the alternate timeline order. So, you know, I don't have it in the orders of alphabeticals as far as Gundam goes. I have them in the Universal Century timeline. So that's 0079. That's 8th MS Team, which takes place during 0079, which is my favorite Gundam. And ironically, it's probably my favorite Gundam is because it's more like just a mecha anime versus being a Gundam. You know what I mean? It takes place it doesn't really take place in space too much, if at all. More takes place in the jungle. I really like the characters. It's short. You know, it's not too confusing like a lot of Gundams tend to be. You know, and that was like the Gundam OVA that I think really was the D1, you know what I mean? And then there's the Miller's Report right there, which was like the movie. And then of course War in the Pocket, which was my first Gundam that I ever saw, actually. You know, I saw Wing and stuff like that on TV, but this is the first time I actually sat down and intentionally watched the Gundam. Because we hated Gundam on TV, by the way. You know what I mean? In my circles, we hated mecha stuff. We were into the Dragon Balls and Naruto's and stuff at that time. We hated the mecha stuff. So Seed and Wing, we hated it. And then here's the other, you know, 12, 13 episode OVA for Gundam that came out. This came out before 8th MS Team, but this one actually took place in space. So, you know, this was like it was also a breather away from the typical Gundam formula. But, this one was actually in space and everything like that. I don't really like this as much as I like 8th MS Team though, but yeah, that's Stardust memory. And then of course Zeta Gundam, which is the next major after 0079. You know, Char's Counterattack, which I haven't seen because I need to get and watch Double Zeta Gundam first. So once I get Double Zeta Gundam and I see that, then I'll get Char's Counterattack. This is still sealed. And then I have F91, which I don't know when I'm ever going to watch that, but it's going to be when certain things get filled in. I watch certain things. G Gundam, not my favorite thing in the world, but it was cool. You know, I believe this was the first. This caught a lot of flack at the time that it was new, because a lot of people felt like, you know, why are we going to an alternate time? Like, why are we trying to cater to people, you know, with the Gundam brand that don't like Gundam? Like, let them go to whatever they like. We don't need to cater to their audience. But yeah, so they did G Gundam, which set up for Gundam Wing to come out the following year. Alright, and with the Endless Waltz, and then Gundam X, which is just the first part. I still need to get the second part. And that came out a year after Wing. And then years later, you get Seed, Seed Destiny movies, and then Gundam 00. I have that out because I still haven't seen that yet either. Actually, I haven't seen Seed either. So I need to watch Seed. But yeah, so that's my Gundam collection right there. I like Gundam. I'm not a Gundam super mega fan, but I like Gundam. Oh man, Gungrave. So I remember I was working first of all, Gungrave is basically a mafia story, but it goes into the supernatural hocus pocus type of stuff too, as far as like the abilities that this guy has or whatever. It's, you know, it's not just some mafia story. It goes into sci-fi type of, you know, things that are not possible and stuff like that too, you know, to bring in the shonen fans. But Gungrave, I remember when I was working, this is probably 2019, I was working delivering car parts, man, and I remember to get through my day without just sitting around driving all day, I literally would set my phone up in a corner like where I could see, and I would plug in the auxiliary cord, and I was literally watching Gungrave and driving around delivering these parts all day. And I remember watching it over the course of like 2 days like that, or maybe a day, because I remember I started it the night before, maybe watched 4 or 5 episodes, and then I was watching it all through the day at work, which was like a 9-hour day, and then I probably came home and watched the rest of it. It was crazy, you know. So yeah, Gungrave, that really it did require me to have to skip back a lot of times and pay attention. You know, it's definitely one of those. It's not crazy boring, like it's not, that's not why you might have to skip back. It's just that if you do, you can miss something if you don't, if your mind wanders off or whatever. So Gunsmith Cats, I have a review for this that a lot of people really enjoyed that review. A lot of people probably believe that that's probably my one of my best videos. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna tell you something. That's probably one of the videos that I put the least amount of effort into, as far as, not because I didn't want to put effort, but it just came so smoothly. It came, I watched it, I rewatched it that morning, and I just put the review together so quick, and it just came naturally. So it only took me like a few hours to get that out, and a lot of people really liked it. So Gunsmith Cats is an amazing anime though, man. Man, I remember the first time I watched it. It's about a couple of girls. It does the whole girls and guns thing. Basically, they're bounty hunters that also run a artillery shop. So that girl right there, Riley Vincent, you know, she's a gun specialist. And then May Hopkins, that you can see at the bottom there, she's a specialist with the grenades and all of that. And you know, it doesn't really have a cohesive, it doesn't really have a good story. It kind of just yanks a story out of the manga, as a lot of these OVAs really did. You know what I mean? Just like Battle Angel. So just like Battle Angel, it suffers from the fact that it could have been something so legendary if it had gotten like a full TV series. It is a shame that all we got was like a 3-episode OVA, because this is the animation was incredible. The setting, it takes place in Chicago. Oh man, I really like this thing. So if you haven't seen Gunsmith Cats, check it out. Right beside that, Gurren Lagann, I got a review for that. I'll pull it out, but man, I don't really need to talk about this. Everybody's seen it. This is such an incredible anime. You know, such an inspiring anime. And yeah. So this is the Guyver. You know, Guyver is a little bit of a failed, anime in America. You know, people didn't really take to it too well, and they put it out so many different ways. They had the Guyver Out of Control back in like '86. Then they did this OVA, and then they had the Guyver TV series in the early, or maybe the mid 2000s. This OVA is probably the best thing that it had. You know, this 13-episode OVA. This is probably the best thing that it had. You know what I mean? Out of everything. I never really seen the original movie. Sorry, guys. I hope I'm holding the camera properly. Yeah, I never seen the original movie that they brought out. That was on VHS, some rare VHS that you cannot find today. You know, but Yeah, that's the Guyver. If you don't know the Guyver, I don't know what I would compare it to. There's something particular that most people compare it to. I can't think of it out my mind. But basically, it's like this armor, this bio armor that that the guy can basically put on, or he kind of might press something, if I remember, and it takes his body over, and then now he has the superpowers from that, and he uses it to fight the enemies. That's pretty much what Guyver is. You know, kind of like that the typical superhero stuff that you would see over here in the West. Dot hack sign, you know, these are the early, not so much just isekai, but early MMO isekai style thing. This might have been one of the first ones, if not the first one. You know, this came out in like 2002 or 3. Very boring. I am dedicated that one day I'm going to sit down and I'm going to force my mind to go through all of Dot Hack for context and understand what it's all about, because I keep hearing that it's something to really appreciate about it. I just can't, because it's just so slow. But one day something will click in my mind. I did that with Gundam too. I couldn't for the life of me get into Gundam, but when it finally clicked, it clicked. You know, so one day I'm gonna get into Hack Sign. Fighting Spirit, you know, 5 years ago these would have been the rarest DVDs. This would have been probably the rarest thing in my collection, but now, you know, now they've have it out on Blu-ray and everything like that from Discotek. So, you know, I have a lot of nostalgia for Hajime no Ippo. You know, I remember at one time, me and my dude James that I told you, his brother, me and him were actually watching this at the same time. So whenever I would run into him, we'd always be talking about what episode we're on, and so I have nostalgia from that. You know, and I never actually had finished it completely at that time. I probably got to like episode 40, because the formula kind of got repetitive for me at that time. And then I ended up finishing it, you know, recently, actually, maybe 3-4 months ago. I finally bought this and finished the whole thing top to bottom. So that's Fighting Spirit. That's Hajime no Ippo. You guys already know it. You know, that's probably the next boxing anime aside from Ashita no Joe that you guys want to get into. Haunted Junction. You know, not much to say about that. It's kind of Hellsing, man. Hellsing is demonic. You know, what do you want me to say? You know, Alucard and all of that, and vampire-ish. From what they say, this is the vampire of vampire animes. Not to me, but just generally in the anime community. This is the one that most people are, you know, other people like Trinity Blood. But we're going to get to the one that I really, you know, vibe with. We'll get to that one soon. Oh, this is a new edition. I need to keep this pulled out because I didn't watch this yet. The Heroic Legend of Arslan. I need to watch this. I'm going to watch this probably this week, by the end of the weekend. And then of course they have the new Arslan anime that I think there was a new Arslan, I believe 2015, that they had out. So maybe I'll get into that after. But yeah, I need to check this out. I recently got this. His and Her Circumstances, Kyrie, Kareshi, Kanojo. Man, you know, classic. You know, what do you want me to say? Classic. Ariyama and old girl. You know, beautiful show. You know, and it's just Gainax, you know what I mean? Gainax giving you, you know, they gave you stuff like, they gave you Evangelion, they gave you Gunbuster, they gave you Daikon, and they gave you all the action mecha stuff, and they gave you all that good stuff, and Otaku no Video, they gave you all that good stuff. They say, you know what, let's dump our hand into the mix of romance, and this is what came out of it. So, and this is what makes it so unique, because if you know anything about Gainax, you know Gainax is very, very big on psychological, you know, elements in there. You know, usually the main character is going to have a breakdown mentally at some point, and this is another one of those, but they just gave it to you from the romantic perspective. So great show. Seen it twice. Howl's Moving Castle. I actually need to watch this, as a matter of fact. I haven't seen this in a long time. I need to watch this, because the first time I saw it, I never really, you know, I need to actually watch this. So let me leave that out. So Human Crossing. I'm not really gonna get into talking about Human Crossing for this. All I'm gonna tell you is it's a very unknown anime, and I have a video that you could look up from me called 3 anime I know you have not heard of. I mentioned it earlier with what's that anime? These guys, the Daichi's Earth Defense Found. I mentioned it earlier. Go watch that video so you can get a synopsis about what that's about, because I really recommend it. Oh man, so this is one of my favorite anime. You know, if not it's somewhere in my top 5. The original Hunter x Hunter. I've talked about it way too many times, how long I've waited to have all 4 of these, man. It took like 5 years. Nah, not 5. It took about 3 years for me to get all 4 of these, man. Oh my god. I seen it when I was 12 years old for the first time. I love it so much. This is like one of my prized possessions in my collection. I'm very proud to own these. You will not pay less than $1,000 right now to get all 4 of these. Man. Especially this 4th one right here. This 4th one might run you $300 by itself, you know. So yeah, the original Hunter x Hunter. You guys already know what Hunter x Hunter is all about. This is the original Nippon animation, you know, with the Ocean dub, the infamous Ocean dub, who also did shows like Inuyasha at the time. And oh my god, beautiful. Hyper Police. This is a really obscure anime. Basically, they're just police officers. You guys already know how that goes. You know how the bounty hunting police officer stuff of the 90s goes. But they're like half dog. Most of them are like dogs. Half dog. Or half cat. Yeah, something like that. Very weird. You know, a lot of comedy and stuff. I want to rewatch it and do a review. I remember I was going through a breakup that was fucking me up. At the time that I had gotten this, like I had ordered it or whatever, and then I was looking for it. I had been looking forward to watching this for years, and then I was going through that and just watching that while my mind was totally. So I literally wasn't even tuned in to the show. I was messed up at that time, you know. Okay, guys. So next up, move on to this. I didn't even know that they had another basketball anime outside of Dear Boys, Slam Dunk, and Kuroko no Basketball. Here's like a little basketball OVA. In no way, shape, or form is this legendary or anything like that. It's called, what is it? Isle, also known as CKBC, Crazy Kozu Basketball Club. This was a recent, or a few months, maybe 3-4 months, since I've had this, and I actually did a review for it, so you can check it out. It wasn't bad. It was another perspective on a basketball anime. Definitely not shonen at all. It was okay. It was whatever, you know. Infinite Revice. This is another, I hate to say, but this is another late 90s Evangelion inspired. I mean, just look at it. You know what I mean? You already know. So you know what you're getting with that. What I will say is, whoever composed the soundtrack for this was heavily inspired by hip-hop. There's certain odes to Biggie, Smalls, and like Tupac songs. A couple of songs in there. So that was pretty cool to hear that. If you don't really know too much about that music, then it'll go straight over your head. But it's there. So yeah, much respect to that. From what I remember from Infinite Revice, it definitely had that psychological aspect and you know, the obscurity of trying to understand what exactly is going on and what the mystery is of this character right there. You know, not that incredible or anything like that, but for people that's into Eva and stuff like that, then check it out. You might get something out of it. Initial D, man. If it wasn't for Initial D, I would know absolutely nothing about drift racing or anything like that. You know, we always knew what it was and we knew that it existed, but it wasn't till Initial D till I actually was able to be exposed to it for real, like exposed to it in a real way. You understand what I'm saying to you? So yeah, Initial D is definitely dope. The main character is definitely a dope main character. This is the first stage. This is the second and third stage. And this is the 4th stage. So, well, this is half of the 4th stage. I do need to get the other half of it, but whatever. Next up, we're on to Inuyasha. I've told the story how many times. I don't want to tell it again. Very nostalgic for me. You know, I was very much totally against it at 9 years old when they took Dragon Ball Z off of YTV. And I was so upset. And I was like, I'm not watching this show. This is not Dragon Ball Z. What are you guys doing? After about a month, gave it a shot, and it became one of my favorite anime of all time. I love this show so much. I have a special edition of the first like 9 episodes, and then this is all of Inuyasha, you know. And you know, I haven't heard I saw the first episode. I haven't heard the greatest things about Yashahime, the show about the children. I haven't heard much of it, but just showing that much reverence towards Inuyasha, I definitely have to get that show when it comes out, watch it and add it to the collection. But this is all of the 7 box sets. You know, Rumika Takahashi shows always have a bunch of box sets. 4 movies right there. These were like things that easily were able to pick up at thrift stores. These were like HMV purchases, and then ex-girlfriend of mine got me the final act. You know, so, you know, yeah, so, great show, man, great show. The story of Inuyasha and Kagome will always be part of anime history. Rumika Takahashi is a legend, and that's all I gotta say about that. Iria, this is a more recent review that I had done a few months back. You know, bounty hunting girl. Yeah, Zerum, the animation, man. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? From what I remember, she was like a bounty hunter trying to keep up with her brother. Or if it wasn't her brother, if I remember, it was another, you know, a gentleman that she looked up to from her community. And yeah, I don't really remember too much on this one as far as the story goes. I just remember it had really cool animation and all that, so... and then they had a live action for this that they did also. So, yep. Irresponsible Captain Tyler, you know, he's an idiot, but he might be a genius secretly. You know, most of you guys have probably heard of this show. You guys know what it is. I need to get the OVAs for it, and I'd like to do a review for it in the near future. So yeah, that's Tyler. General, the Wolf Brigade, you know, everybody knows that. First volume of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the original 1994 OVA or TV series, really. You know, the first time JoJo had ever seen an animation. Around this time, they had actually put out a few years later, they actually had a Dreamcast. If you guys know, the Sega Dreamcast actually had a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game, which would have been in this type of art style, this 90s type of art style. So any of you Dreamcast guys could look out. It's a Dreamcast fighting game. Jubei-chan the Ninja Girl, had a review for that I put out a few years ago. Great anime. It's about a girl that's you know, another one of these descendant shows, descendant of some legendary ninja, where she puts on the eye patch and all that. We got J2, you know, which is pretty much Jubei-chan season 2. Not as great. It came out like 7 years later. It's not as incredible, but it's still a great anime nonetheless. It's pretty much just Jubei-chan, the original, but then this one just has a stronger art style, more sharper 2000s updated art style to it. That's pretty much what Jubei-chan 2 really is. So that's that. Kadamaru, I wasn't really a big fan of this. It was just, you know, so you could see it right there. That's some Edo era, you know, Edo era Japan type of thing. Karas, what I remember about Karas, because it's been a while since I actually even watched it, Karas had an incredible art style and animation, man. The animation on this was just insane. You know, I don't really remember too much about the story, but oh my god. The animation, you can see that right there. The animation was just, like, the animation is to die for. Come on, focus. It was, yeah, there you go. It was to die for, man. Kaze no Yojimbo. I mean, come on, it's the Yojimbo story. Y'all know what Yojimbo. It's not literally the Yojimbo story for real. It takes on more of this Wanderers type of vibe. Like it plays around with it a little bit. It's a little bit more you know, political, I would say, than the original Yojimbo story. But you know, I didn't really see too much special about it. But it's just a standard. You know, a lot of the early 2000s, like from 2000 to like 2004, 5, 6, they were just standard good stuff. There's a lot of them in this collection. Like this next series we're gonna get to, it's just standard good, not legendary, but just really good stuff. You know what I mean? So, which brings me to Kenichi, which was another show. Air Gear and Kenichi were two shows that my dude James introduced me to at the same exact time, around the same exact time, and it was just such a good time for Funimation anime. You know, you have a kid that's pretty much getting bullied at school, you know what I mean, and he's getting beat up. I mean, you guys know this, just like Ippo, just like Hajime no Ippo. You know, he finds himself at this martial arts, you know, dojo. And the unique thing about this is that he's not just training in one thing. Like, he gets to learn Muay Thai, he gets to learn boxing, all types of, so it's just dope. You know, all these various masters teach him things. And this is something that I do recommend you guys go back and, especially some of you younger guys. I'm 25, but some of you guys, because I was like 11, 12 years old when I first saw this. So some of you guys that might be 17, 18 right now, if you're watching this, maybe you guys might want to, you know, this might be a little bit before your time. So you might want to look into this. You know what I mean? Because that was the first season and this is the second season. Yeah, this is a great show, man. And especially when you get to the final fight. Oh my God. Incredible. Key the Metal Idol. This is a very, very underrated show. You know, I don't know why when we talk about all these classics from the 90s, nobody really talks about this. This is a very, very good show. A lot of symbolism, a lot of religious symbolism in this show right here. You know, who is she? That's all I gotta say to you. Who is she and what is she? Is she real or is she not real? You know what I mean? That's all I gotta say on that, based on my memory of the show. It's been a while, but man, such a good show. I highly recommend Key the Metal Idol. I mean, this is just another Ghibli Kiki's delivery service. You guys should already know what that's all about. Got Kite and Mezzo Forte, same director, I believe, or just the same, pretty much just the same movie. 4 years put out apart, 2 different stories. Yeah, Kite is very dope. Kite is about a girl that's working for an organization that basically takes down child predators and whatever. But there's a lot of twists that go on with that, so I'll just leave it there. Mezzo Forte, I'm losing it with Metal. What was Mezzo Forte? The brutal baseball owner. Yeah, so her dad is like connected to the mob or something like that, or is the mob. And yeah, I don't really remember too much with Mezzo Forte, but Kite is the one that was really my introduction to these 2 movies. And Kite, that child predator story was crazy. Mezzo Forte wasn't really to me as solid, but it was whatever. Kite Liberated, this is just 10 years later they came out with a different Kite movie, nowhere near as good. And then of course this is the Mezzo TV series that basically nibbled off of the back of the original movie. So Night Hunters, Wild Cruise, this is some more 90s stuff. Not really my favorite thing in the world, but you know. Knights of Ramoon, same kind of idea, you know, 90s OVA. Kurogane Communication. So this is like a post-apocalyptic type of anime where this girl gets left behind with various monsters or robots or whatever the fuck they're supposed to be. The thing about this anime that I remember, it's 24 or 26 episodes, but each episode is like 10 minutes or 12 minutes. So it's really like 13 episodes. So that was what I remembered about that. Labyrinth of Flames. Again, I'm not a huge comedy guy, but what a lot of people say about this is that it's extremely funny. So if you're into comedy, check this OVA out. Legend of Lemniere, an anime that I waited to watch for a very long time, and then I wasn't really that interested in it when I got, or not that I was disappointed when I got this. I'll say that. You know, I'll say that. So it's a brother and sister, you know, battle, swords and sorcery stuff. Lost Universe. So a lot of people know about this. This is pretty much Slayers, but in space, created by the same people. Does it hold the feel of the Slayers? It actually does not. However, I do feel like it still has some things to offer. So if you're into the Slayers, you can check this out, just as like a, or just appreciate it as just a 90s, you know, anime, if anything. It's not a horrible anime by any means. It just doesn't necessarily hold up to Slayers. So random loop in the third movie, Dead or Alive. Macross. All I'm going to say on this, most of you guys know what Macross is. If you're into older anime, all I got to say is this. Silver moon, red moon, I'll just leave it at that. Incredible show, man. Incredible. Next, Macross Plus. Oh my god. Macross Plus is amazing. So Macross Plus, what do I have to say about Macross Plus? The story starts off as a guy that basically gets recruited to a you know, an organization as I don't know if it's the army. I guess you would say it's the army, I guess. So he gets recruited there, and then there's this little rivalry going on with another guy. But, you know, the main thing that with Macross is always usually going to be the romance. And then, of course, the mech battles and the... Oh, my man. Like, the animation on, and just the thematics on this fucking anime is just so incredible that I don't know what to tell you other than you should just go watch it, man. That's all I could say. The artwork on these DVDs don't really do it much justice, but trust me, Macross is amazing. Madonna, it's just some random wacky movie from like the 80s or something. What year was this? This is like what, 87 or something like that from what I remember. But yeah, wacky ass movie, man. Quick movie. Shouldn't be that long. I think it's like an hour. No, it's 104 minutes, so that's almost 2 hours. But yeah, I got that at Anime North. I think it was like 2019. Magicano. This is another one of these Funimation anime from the 2000s. When Marnie was there, this is a more recent, even though it's like, what, 7 years old? What year did this come out? 2014, yeah. So even though it's like 7 years old now, this is a more recent Ghibli movie. And it wasn't bad. Again, it's not one of my favorites, but it wasn't bad. Nadesco. It's been a while since I watched Nadesco, but you know what I'm gonna say with these 90s these late 90s mechas, so you already know what I'm gonna say. However, Nadesco was more a parody of like mecha anime just as a whole, but it does incorporate some of the NGE stuff into it, especially with this character right here. This character went on to get a movie. The movie, from what I remember, was horrible. You know, and you know what Eva character that she's supposed to be a playoff of, so yeah. Oh man, one of my favorite shows down here. Wow, this is getting hard. But this is one of my favorite shows, Master Keaton. Master Keaton is the older brother of Naruki Urasawa's Monster. So you guys know Monster. So basically Master Keaton was a show that came out in 1998. I believe Monster came out in 2004. So before you had Monster, you had Master Keaton. Before you had Tenma, you had Taichi Keaton. They're basically like the same individual as far as their wittiness and as far as their personality. I won't say the same, but they cut from the same cloth. You get what I'm saying? And basically, this is an episodic version of Monster with older animation. He works for an insurance fraud company, but not every episode is just about insurance fraud. So some of these episodes is more like on some stealthy, you know, what would I compare this to? Something like these police, almost like these police shows or these detective-ish, not like Case Closed, but these detective police inspector type of shows, right? So some of the episodes are like that, and then some of the episodes are just very cerebral. It could be just this guy, you know, it'll start off with him going, very episodic, by the way, very episodic. It'll just be Keaton going into a bar, and some old man is sitting there, and he starts talking to the old man, and then the episode just cuts into, it ends up just being a flashback of the old man's, some crazy story that might have happened to the old man 40, 50 years ago. You get what I'm saying? And then by the end of it, it's that type of a show. So it's very random. Some of the episodes are to do with his profession. Some of the episodes are just some quick adventure he might have when his daughter comes to visit him, because he's half English, half Japanese. So I believe he's based in England, but he travels all over the place. So some episodes he might be in Russia. I hope as I'm explaining this to you, it intrigues you more, because it's pretty interesting. So one episode he might be in Russia, another episode he might be at his school in England. I believe England is where he lives. Another episode he might be in like France or something like that. So it's pretty cool, man. Master Keaton is a great show. Check it out. This is Maze, the OVA. I used to have the TV series and I sold it. I wish I probably should have just, you know, tossed this in, with, you know, as like a bonus to the guy that bought it, because I really didn't like that anime at all. And there was really no need for me to hold on to the OVA, but it was whatever. Next we have Memories. Everybody knows this. Stink Bomb was one of the more interesting ones. All three of them were really cool, but I do like Stink Bomb was really the one that stuck out to me. Stink Bomb. So yeah, everybody knows Memories though, so you know we don't really gotta talk too much on that one. Mermaid Forest, incredible anime. Rumika Takahashi again. You know, this is another one I watched around the time that I told you I watched Hyper Police when I was going through the breakup or whatever. So I need to watch this again, because I do remember like being totally, it was like that's how I know it was an incredible anime, because I totally was acknowledging how incredible it was, but I was so mentally not there. I was so mentally like not there that I wasn't able to really appreciate it, like for real, like take it for context, you know. But Mermaid Scar and Mermaid Forest, the old OVAs from I think one came out in the 80s, one came out in the 90s from Rummick World or whatever. Before this TV series came out, so two of the OVAs ended up being episodes in this TV series. So yeah, I've seen those, and I really enjoyed those with a clear frame of mind. But I need to go back and rewatch this with a clear frame of mind. Next up is Metal Fighter Miku, which is it's just some girls. What type of armor is this again? It's not boxing or anything. Like basically it's kind of like wrestling. It's pretty much wrestling, but with these armored suits, pretty much. And these girls, you know, fight in a tournament and all of that. It's, you know, it's a Shimbo series. That guy that did Air, he's like very popular for doing certain animes. I don't really Air is the one that I remember was the most popular one that I remember, and he did a lot of other stuff too. So this was one of his more earlier 90s works. Millennium Actress Satoshi Kon. You know, most of you guys already know what that's all about. Yeah. Another Rumika Takahashi. Y'all guys know I'm big into Rumika Takahashi. So this is basically like, you know, that, like some, you know, bargain brand Inuyasha. You know, that's what this is. You know, Moyo Ken. You can see the characters already. It looks like Inuyasha. You know, before you had Yasha Hime to try to get into, you had something like this. You know what I mean? It has the demons and everything like that. It doesn't feel anything like Inuyasha at all, other than the way it looks. I don't know if you guys could see that right there, but yeah. You know, it's not a bad anime or anything like that. But if you're really desperate for more Inuyasha, I guess that you could watch this, because it's from the same vein. Mushishi, I don't really need to talk too much about that. Most of you guys have seen Mushishi. I need to do a rewatch and talk about it on this channel. My Neighbor Totoro, 2 Ghibli movies right there. My Neighbor Totoro and the Yamadas. Man, what should I say about these? I mean, these are classic movies. You know, the Yamadas was more one of these ones that not a lot of people knew about until it got over. Well, over here, not a lot of people knew about it till it came to home media. Like, this is not one of these ones that a lot of people were talking about, just like Ocean Waves. And it wasn't my favorite Ghibli movie, to be real with you. Totoro is one of my favorite Ghibli movies for sure, top 5. Yamadas, yeah, so that's that one. Nadia, Secret of Blue Water. This is early Gainax. Man. You know, there's nothing to really be said about this too much, other than if you haven't seen Nadia, man, I really, it feels so good. So basically, it's loosely based on Jules Verne's book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. If you haven't read the book, you've probably seen one of like the Disney movies or something like that. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the story with Nemo and the ship, and takes place on the water. So that's what Nadia basically is, right? Based off of. And you know, it was an early Gainax work. You know, I believe it was the first TV series that they had done. You know, I believe that actually there's a linkage between Castle in the Sky. Is it Castle in the Sky? I believe there's a linkage between Castle in the Sky and Nadia. I could be wrong about that. I could be very wrong about that. There's some linkage with Nadia and a Ghibli movie. If it's not Castle in the Sky, maybe it's Nausicaa, but I think it's Castle in the Sky though. But yeah, for sure. But yeah, basically, you know, she's a girl that carries a little blue or charm, and she gets, just like any other story in a video game even or anime, she has this charm, you know, the blue water, and they want her for it, and it just leads to this epic story with this kid down there, John. And you know, it's just classic stuff, you know what I mean? To me, something like this, a story like this, kind of transcends anime, and it goes into the realms of, you know, just classic, you know, storytelling that whether you're a child or you're an adult, you can really appreciate, from the music to the art, you know, to the Victorian era vibe that it carries, you know, I'll just leave it there, you know, that late, yeah. So that's Nadia, Secret of Blue Water. Naruto, it's Naruto, man. I don't really have too much to say on Naruto. You know, this is the canon OG Naruto from 2003 that we all seen on TV, with the 3 movies. And then I have the first Shippuden movie. Shippuden I don't really have too much interest in, so that's why I don't have it. I don't really feel like collecting it all, and I'm not really a big fan of the show. So we'll leave it at that. Nausicaa, you know, pretty good movie from Ghibli. Nausicaa, I have a video on this that you could check out. This anime, if you guys remember the Malcolm in the Middle opening, this anime shows up for a split second on the screen. You know what I mean? So that's that. Not the greatest anime in the world, but it does something different because it taps into mythology about the ancient Aztecas of Peru, which is something you don't see in anime like that. So, yep. Next up, I have... Oh, I gotta go back up here for a second. Let's try to get through this shelf quick before my arm gives out. I have my little Shinji figure here because this is Neon Genesis Evangelion. Not too much to say about Neon Genesis Evangelion, with the rare movie box right here with Death of Rebirth and the end of Evangelion. You know, this is one of the pillars for anime tropes, you know what I mean? A lot of memes in recent years have it's probably the most memed anime of all time, to be real with you. You know, and they say it's the Star Wars of anime. And if you don't know the story of Neon Genesis Evangelion, I'm not getting into the actual story of the show because I'm pretty sure most of you have already seen it. But pretty much when, you know, Gainax did this, Hideaki Anno, Gainax did this, and then they did this ending that to me, I totally get the ending. I totally get it. As somebody that, you know, struggled with a lot of the same things that Shinji struggled with, I understood what the ending was all about. So I got it. A lot of people that was into the politics and the mechs and all of that, they wanted to see an ending to that. But I knew what I was looking for when I watched it. So, but yeah, because of that, they gave them the end of Evangelion movie, but basically said F you. You know, y'all could get your ending or whatever the case may be, but we're gonna give you an ending that's pretty much a spit in your face. So, Neoranga. It's another late 90s anime about a giant monster or something like that these girls awaken. Nia under 7. I don't really know what to say too much about this. I should even rewatch it, to be honest with you. Oh man, so this is my holy grail vampire anime, Nightwalker Midnight Detective. I did a review for this almost 3 years ago now. Such a good anime to me, man. I really like it. I really, really like it. Darkstalkers Revenge. Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge. Not much to be said about that. Fix this camera angle or whatever. Ninja Scroll. So I'm actually watching Ninja Scroll tonight. So I have the actual Ninja Scroll Blu-ray over at the TV. So yeah, Ninja Scroll Blu-ray is supposed to be there, and then here's the Ninja Scroll TV series and Ninja Resurrection. Noir, I have a review for that you could check out now and then, here and there. This one's a hit or miss for people, and I think a lot of people don't like it because of the art style or whatever, but this is a very, very kind of dark anime for what it seems like on the surface. Because you have all these cutesy looking characters. You can't see it here, but you have all these characters that look like, because this came out in 1999. So these characters kind of look like similar to like the characters that you would see in Metabots or any of these other cutesy Digimon cutesy looking type of characters, like these little chibi type of characters, but the stuff that they're going through in the anime is just insane, you know what I mean? And I really recommend it to you guys. Ocean Waves. This is another Ghibli movie that people didn't really know about this movie over here until, you know, people knew about it, obviously. They knew, Ghibli heads knew of its existence, but until it came over here on home media and got a dub and everything, people didn't really know too much about it. So here's my One Piece collection. This is all of well, not all of it. I still am waiting to get 26, 7, and 8 in the mail. And once I get 26, 7, and 8, this is all of One Piece in the West. Up to the Dressrosa or something like that, somewhere there. And I think 28 has Sabo on there, so it goes up to wherever Sabo pops in where One Piece is at now. So yeah, I know that's a lot of One Piece. I'm a One Piece fan, so I had to get it. And then one of the movies, this is One Punch Man, the first season. Only yesterday. This is another one that not too many people know. Same boat as Yamada's and Ocean Waves. Alright, we're moving back down here now. Otaku no Video. This is pretty much the biography of Gainax. People know about that. Outlaw Star. This is more of a, to me, this is more of like a shonen or alternative, even though it's not episodic, but it's more of like a shonen alternative to Cowboy Bebop, because it came out the same year. It's a space opera as well, but it follows more of a shonen-ish, more action-oriented formula than the maturity, you know, that you see in Cowboy Bebop. So yeah, for those of you that might be interested, check out Outlaw Star if you haven't seen it already. Panda Go Panda. This is actually probably the last review that I did. Before I did the Halloween episode. This is the last one that I did. Really nice show, man. Really nice show. Isao Takahata and Hayao Miyazaki. This is an early thing that they did. I believe this came out in 70 something, like 79 or something like that. I can't see the year at the moment, but yeah. This is before any of the Ghibli stuff that you like. They worked on this, so you know, check it out. Paprika, which is another Satoshi Kon. Rest in peace. Paranoia Agent. Y'all guys already know what that's about. Shout out to the Slasher. Or Smasher, or whatever his name was. Parasite Dolls. So this comes from the world of Bubblegum Crisis. With the AD police and everything. It's very much more psychological and serious. And I need to watch it again because I remember just losing my train of thought following it. When I was watching it. It was very hard to watch. Very, very serious. Parasite TV series. Parasite the Maxim. This was a pretty cool show, man. I had wanted to watch it for a while too. Next up we have all of Patlabor. Patlabor is not my favorite thing, but I really I appreciate it. I appreciate its legacy. You know, so this is the first Patlabor original TV series or the original OVA actually, from 1980 something. I think it was like 88. And then here's the Patlabor movies 1 and 2, Patlabor movie 3, and then the Patlabor TV series, and then Patlabor the Police Files, which is like some extra, the new files, some extra OVA stuff. With Patlabor. Patlabor is one of these things where it uses something for it to promote itself. So it's using the whole mecha thing to promote itself, but really the true reason why you're actually supposed to be watching it, why they want you watching it, is not for the mecha and the fighting and all that type of stuff. For the drama is really the interaction between the characters. That's why they want you to pay attention to the characters and how they interact with each other. You know, that's what Patlabor is really supposed to be about. So, you know. So yeah, that's Patlabor. Next, Peacemaker Kuragane. Not really into that. Perfect Blue. Most people have seen this. This is probably my favorite out of everything Satoshi Kon. Pet Shop of Horrors, I've talked about this a lot of times. This is one of my favorite anime. Classic Urban Vision OVA. You know, yeah, so if you ever go to a pet shop and you see, where is he? Okay, he's not on this cover. But if you ever go to a pet shop, you go to Chinatown, you go to a pet shop and you see a guy in there named Count D, and he sells you a pet, and he tells you, don't do this, don't do that, and you need to do this. Just listen, okay? Just listen. Next up, Phantom Requiem with a Phantom. Little stealthy, you know what I mean? Type of, you know, James Bond-ish type of OVA or type of TV series. Ping Pong Club. DVD collection. Very, very, very good stuff. This is like the South Park of anime. Plastic Little. I did a review on this a couple of years ago. Really beautiful art style, man. The guy that drew this, I forgot what they say about him. I think they call him like he's like the GOAT of drawing female anime characters, I guess they said. And he did another anime too that I can't think of. I almost want to go get my phone and check, but he did another classic anime from oh man, it's slipping my mind. Talk to me in the comment section and remind me. He did another classic. Please, teacher. Great anime, kind of deals with the morality of should you date your teacher. And then Please Twins, which is I believe it's like should you date your, it's almost like should you date your sister, from what I think it almost was like playing around with incest in a way. Pokemon Indigo League. I don't really need, I mean, this is just in my collection because I grew up on Pokemon on TV and whatever. So getting close to the end here, man. So this is all these Pokemon movies that I've collected at the thrift store over the years. Movie 1, 2, and 3, Pokemon Forever, blah, 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 blah. Poco, this is another one of my more favorite. For whatever reasons, it seems like these environmentalism, type of anime seems to get me for whatever reason. But yeah, Poco, I really enjoy. So this is one of my more favorite Ghibli movies, and I found it to be more serious. And anytime something is a lot more serious, I appreciate it a lot more. I guess it's just something to do with my age at this point. Ponyo, another Ghibli movie. Porco Rosso, I really like Porco Rosso. Anything to do with like the Victorian era, like the 1800s, and these flying planes, and like the I don't know what it is. Like it just, Porco Rosso, Nadia's Secret of Blue Water, like all these Victorian era-esque type of animes. I really love them. These steampunk type of vibe. Princess Mononoke. I didn't even realize that four Ghibli movies are right next to each other, back to back. That's crazy. And I believe, yeah, and they're all in alphabetical order too, which is dope. Princess Nine. So this is a baseball anime about a bunch of girls on a baseball team. It's a very ambitious anime. It's very fun to watch. Spoiler alert, skip 20 seconds past if you don't want to hear this. But they losing then. Puny Poemi. At one point I used to actually have Excel Saga. I got rid of it. Not my cup of tea. And Puny Poemi is basically, I believe it's made by the same people. I believe. Regardless, it's definitely like a spiritual successor to it in OVA format. Razafan, fake ass Evangelion, Ranma 1/2. Ranma 1/2 is probably my biggest video on my channel. The review that I did for it. It took me some years to finish this anime because it does fall off somewhere after like the second or third season. But, it's still such a great anime, especially this first season right here, man. Oh, my God. Such a beautiful anime. The movies are dope. The OVAs are dope. And, that's all I got to say on that. Ranma's always going to be a classic, Ranma, his father, Genma. I messed up and I called him his grandfather in the review. But whatever, so yeah, the whole team, man. Shampoo, Nabiki, I don't want to sit here and say too much. It's just, if you haven't seen Ranma, you should look into it. I think you would really enjoy it. That's all of it. That's all, the whole thing. 2 movies, the OVA, which also includes the 3rd movie in there also. So yeah, that's all I got to say with Ranma. Check it out. And then now we have one of my favorite animes of all time. This is Magic Knight Ray Earth. Okay, this is the complete Magic Knight Ray Earth with season 1 and season 2. Season 1 is one of my favorite anime of all time. Very, very linear, and I do not care. It's a bunch of girls. They get whisked away into another land. It's an isekai, get whisked away into another land, and then they find out that they have powers that they have to use and defeat enemies to save the princess. Okay? I do not care how generic it is. I still love it. But what I will tell you is when you get to the end of that first season, getting into the second season, it totally twists it up and it takes it to a whole nother realm that is not generic at all. The only thing is they kind of fumble the ball by the time you get halfway through the second season. That's the only thing about it. Otherwise, if they were able to maintain, I believe that this could have been a bigger... I believe that Rare Earth had the potential to be one of the biggest franchises of all time. You know what I mean? And I know it would have because it was Clamp, and Clamp had gone on to do other things like Cardcaptor Sakura and Code Geass or whatever that became way. I believe Rare Earth had the potential to be acclaimed also. You know, so yeah. And with Rare Earth, another thing with Rare Earth is just the art style is just so incredible. And then a few years later in '97, they came out with the Rare Earth OVA. They did this a lot in the '90s. They would have, you know, a TV series or something, and then they would have this OVA that's not that kind of changes the art style a little bit. It keeps the same dynamic, but it changes the art style. It redraws the art style, and it goes for this more cinematic look. And that's basically what to me, it doesn't execute the story the exact same way. It doesn't have the same vibe, but still, it's you know, Record of Lotus War. I used to have those early DVD versions of Record of Lotus War. I don't know if I still have. I don't think I actually I sent them to Bob. I sent them to Bob Samurai because I ended up getting my hands on this, which you know, maybe it's an OCD thing because I have the TV series. So this is the Record of Lotus War. This is one of the versions of the box. There's like two. Well, at this point, there's like 4 different box sets for Record of Lotus War. They have the Blu-ray now and whatever. But so here's the TV series, the red TV series, the box and everything like that. And I was just like, hey, if there's a red box set, I'm just gonna keep the red box set to go along with, you know, the red TV series. So, and I had gotten it for like $5 off of a haul. So I said, okay, instead of trying to make some money off of this, let me send this to somebody that I think would appreciate it. And then I ended up sending it off to Bob. So that's that. And then you have Read or Die. The OVA, pretty good. Need to get on that TV series. Red Hawk movie. Revolutionary Girl Utena. Most of you guys know what that is. Riding Bean. This was the precursor to this comes from the universe of Gunsmith Cats that I showed you earlier. Over there. Gunsmith Cats with Raleigh Vincent. Let me show that off again. Yeah, so Gunsmith Cats. But in this version, before you had Gunsmith Cats, this was Raleigh Vincent. This blonde girl is supposed to be Raleigh Vincent. So they made some changes or whatever. Takes place in Chicago also. I feel like Gunsmith Cats is better. And Riding Bean is just shorter. It's just like a 40-minute. I got cut off there, but yeah, it's just like a 40-minute movie. Next, Rocket Girls. This is just some girls going into space. They get selected to go into space. Oh man, Royal Space Force, Wings of Hanamis. So this is a beautiful movie that Gainax did back in the 80s. There's some scenes in this movie that are just like, when you look at them, they are just incredible. It's just the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. You have to see this movie if you haven't seen it. It's just such a great, it's a great movie, man. It's a great movie. It's about a guy that wants to go, pretty much wants to, it's basically like an alternate take on the early days of aviation, pretty much. And you just get to follow that, and you get to see some weird stuff with the main character. And it's just an ambitious story. It's a story about ambition, you know what I mean? And the tussle of being ambitious. Ruin Explorers, some great swords and sorcery stuff. If you're into Slayers or anything like that, Bastard or anything like that, it's you know, right up your alley. This is a great little OVA. Yeah, I'm into stuff like that. I'm into the swords and sorcery, the old school swords and sorcery stories. So Rune Soldier Louis, which is supposed to have ties to Record of Lotus War in some way. I'm still trying to figure out in what way to this day. I think I have a video where I talked about my nostalgia. I have multiple videos talking about my nostalgia for this box set and how long I waited for it and ordering it and just waiting on it to come in and just wanting to watch the show so bad. Rurouni Kenshin, complete series, one of my favorite anime of all time, top 10 easily. Such an incredible, that Kyoto arc is just insane. Man, I hope nobody watching this there's nobody watching this who hasn't seen Rurouni Kenshin. That's crazy. See Rurouni Kenshin ASAP. And then what we got here? We got the Trust and Betrayal and you know, all that good stuff. Trust and Betrayal and Samurai X Reflection, and then the new Kyoto arc. Yeah, and that's Kenshin. Saber Marionette J, the complete series right there. That's Saber Marionette J, and then Saber Marionette J again, which is like a little OVA, and then Saber Marionette J, J to X, which is like a TV series. And then after that, I actually have a review for this one, Saber Marionette R, which is like this little OVA that was supposed to be like a prequel or a sequel, one of the two. Sailor Moon, everybody knows that. So this is season 1, part 1, and then Sailor Moon R. This next series, oh man, I love this series. Saint Tail is and this is one of the rarest series to collect. So for all the collectors out there, if you want this, hang tight. It's very difficult to collect. Very, very difficult. But, you know, I wasn't even really looking for it when I got it, which is how I got it, because I just stumbled on it just at the right time, and I didn't even know what I was really getting, to be honest with you. So this box set right here, this last part that has the last 21 episodes is just, if you can even find a copy, you know, good for you. Sayuki's, not too much to say about that. Sakura Diaries, Sakura Wars, Samurai Champloo. Feels a lot like Cowboy Bebop. I wonder why. Classic show. Classic. Samurai Gun. School Rumble. I don't know, I'm not really too big into school shows, but School Rumble, it has a pretty cool opening for this first season here. I might end up getting the second season. And we're getting to the end. Scrap Princess has a pretty interesting dynamic of magic abilities here. Very unique as far as the magic goes and as far as the powers or whatnot. And this story is just a story about a girl who's a girl of special interest being transported by some people with powers that can protect her and move her around or whatever. So that's one of those type of stories, and their journey through that. Scried, Escried. It's cool. I mean, I feel like I would enjoy this more if I was younger, but somebody was putting me onto this back when I was in middle school, but I never really got onto it at that time. And you know, I tried to get into it in more recent years, but I couldn't do it. Serial Experiments Lane, I don't want to talk about this. We've talked about this so much in the anime community. You know, we still don't know what exactly the story is supposed to be here, but you know, all we know about it is that it was pretty predictive. I mean, they fabricated some things outside of the realms of reality, but it was pretty predictive in you know, the fact that the internet would affect people. You know what I mean? It's just that it doesn't affect people in real life the way it did in this movie or this anime, but you know, it was ahead of its time as far as putting the internet and the future of internet and what might possibly happen to mankind through the experiences this girl. It was pretty ahead of its time in just putting the internet in question. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? You know what I mean? Especially in a social level. And we praise it for that. Shadow Skill. This is the original movie right there, and then followed by the TV series from '98. I was talking about this when I had Bob on my show. He actually said something that I really liked. He said, basically, shonen format, seinen. He said what? Shonen format with seinen content, which is very, very incredible because this kind of plays out like a shonen, in it, especially in its downtime, more when with the character interactions or whatever, and when they're traveling and they're talking or whatever, and they go from town to town. But when it's time to get busy, when it's time for the action and everything, man, like the action in this is just crazy. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, the fights. Let me see if I can find any. You can see a little bit of it here, like the action. This doesn't really do it justice, but when you see some of the battles that go on and some of the, man, like it gets serious. You know, the blood and the detailing of, you know, how characters get damaged up. It's crazy. Shamanic Princess. This has some incredible art style and animation, particularly the animation. This, oh my god. I don't even want to talk. I should do a review for that. I haven't done one yet. But this is a great anime, man. As far as the sorcery stuff goes, the 90s sorcery stuff. Shinesman, this is a Super Sentai in the form of, you know, in the form of some salaryman type of thing. This is about a guy that pretty much is like a superhero, but in the business world. It's pretty weird, but it's actually pretty cool. I got this at Anime North 20 what is that, maybe 18. Yeah, I think 18. It's pretty cool. Silent Mobius, this is the occult. This is you know, Lucifer Hawk is the group in this this is pretty much, you know, pretty much you're basically watching technically what I guess would be the bad guys technically, because they're occultists, so they're pretty much, you know, devil worshippers or devil advocates. So, you know, depending if you're religious, you're probably watching this from the lens of the bad guy. Slayers, I don't really want to talk too much about Slayers. We all know it, we love it. Most people have seen the Slayers, the first season, at least like 5 times. No exception am I to this. All of it, you know, all the movies, the OVAs, everything like that. Only missing the newer season 4 and 5, the Revolution and Evolution R. Slayers is great, but it is Sorcerer Hunters that is my, you know, swords and sorcery cream of the crop. You know, I love Sorcerer Hunters, man. I just love the music. I love the characters. I just love everything about this thing. I don't, you know, Sorcerer Hunters, first of all, the opening and ending, particularly the ending mask, is one of my favorite anime endings of all time. And yo, I feel like they put some delicacy and precision into the world that they built with this one. You know, is it the greatest animation? No, but the art style and just, oh my goodness, man. It is amazing when you're watching it. Every episode that you watch is just a new place with just, oh my man. Check out Sorcerer Hunters if you haven't. And then they have this little OVA that's kind of takes place in the same universe, Sorcerer on the Rocks, and it kind of feels a lot like Bastard. This guy right here, he's an asshole, and it kind of gives you that Bastard kind of feel. So, and when I say Bastard, I'm talking about the anime Bastard. Soul Eater, all my all my 2000s. Any of you guys that grew up in the 2000s, you remember when this was very popular in the anime community back in like 2007, 8, 9, 10. Soul Eater was an anime that everybody had in their top anime. So, you know, I need to get into Fire Force and see what that's all about. For those that don't know, Fire Force is a newer anime that was made by the same team and all of that, or same mangaka drew it. Speed Grapher, man, I had high hopes for this one, the first couple of episodes, and then it just totally fell off. It's about a guy that I think he has a camera that New Tokyo, Sickest Fantasies are war photographer, slumming in the tablet. Blah, blah. Yeah, this guy's a photographer. And there's some I forgot because it really wasn't a good anime. But it starts out pretty promising. Maybe you guys will like it more if you continue on. But it really fell off very hard. It started out very strong, and then it just, I don't know where it went. Spice and Wolf. This is about trading. Can be very slow, but if you pay close attention to what's going on, it's very mature. I'll put it to you like that. You know what I mean? Traveling merchant, trading, and all of that good stuff. And it's more of like a Victorian era type of thing. Spirited Away, most people's favorite Ghibli movie, great movie. Not my favorite Ghibli movie, but great movie. Spriggan. This deal, what was this again? This was pretty biblical also. I think it gets into the ark of it gets into Noah's Ark. Like an alternate. It kind of dabbles into Noah's Ark and all of that. Steins Gate, that overrated ass anime. Street Fighter, my Street Fighter collection. This is Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, great movie. Then Street Fighter 2V, which is like the Street Fighter TV series from '95. And this was pretty cool for what it was. And then Street Fighter Alpha and Alpha Generations, 2-disc. Comes with Alpha and Alpha Generations. So they were very diligent on making sure that there were anime to go along with all the Street Fighter video games back in the 90s. So Tsukisho, this is gay. I didn't know that it was gay. I got it at Anime North, and I just thought it was some romance anime, and I got it in the dealers, which is like, the dealer's room is like this little garage sale. Pretty sure every anime convention has this little garage sale type of at Anime North, they do it on Friday, and like there's a huge lineup to get inside, and it's just like a bunch of vendors, people selling stuff, all types. The stuff that I said that I got at Anime North, understand that some of these stuff are like rare, and I was getting people giving them shits for like $10 and stuff that you might end up paying $90 on eBay and Amazon for. I'm grabbing it for $10. So I just saw that somebody was selling it for $5. I took it, and yeah, that was that. Suzuka, great anime. She's a track runner, but it's a romance. It's not really about the track. She got some little simp after her and all that. Actually, the show's really about him more than it's about Suzuka, but she's the focus, really. She's like the, you get it, but it really follows the guy more than anything. So, Sword for Truth, I really don't like this movie at all. Sword of the Stranger, I just saw this movie earlier today. I like the animation, and I like the action and the fighting and everything. The story was kind of hard to follow, but the fights and all of that were great. Good little samurai, good little swordsman, Edo Japan or feudal Japan, whichever one. I always get it mixed up which era is which, but old school ninja samurai era Japan, great stuff for that. The Tale of Princess Kaguya, this was a beautiful Ghibli movie. Oh my god, the art and animation of this movie was this was beautiful, especially the first like half an hour when it was going through when she was a baby and all of that. Oh, this was amazing. This is amazing. And this was a newer, yeah, this was like 2015, 13. Yeah, so this was a newer Ghibli. Tekon Concrete. I think a lot of people know that. Tenemonia Voyagers. This is a bunch of women that get stranded together in space and whatever, and they're navigating, trying to get back home. Nothing you haven't really heard of before. I really like the animation and the art style though. I've seen it a few times. It's pretty good. And we're on to the last little chunk of the collection here. With Tenchi Muyo, my Tenchi collection. So this is actually one of the first anime. When I first jumped into collecting anime in November of 2015, I went into a little pawn shop called Pawn Kings, downtown of my little town. And I just went in there and I was going through the DVDs and I just happened to find this. I happened to just find this and I went home and literally I had an anime collection that was probably like from this right here where my finger is, maybe even small, maybe from like right here. That was like that big. That had like my Yu Yu sets and Yu Yu Hakusho, the first 2 orange bricks that I told you I had, and this. And maybe Cowboy Bebop was in and Akira was in at the time. And that's all I had. And this, I remember, and if you guys know anything, like I told you, these Pioneer sets it was good that I found this. As beat up as it was, these Pioneer sets, you know, are kind of rare, you know what I mean? If not rare, expensive. So yeah, and this OVA is just incredible. A lot of people rave and go on about, you know, Tenchi Universe, the TV series. I don't really care too much for this TV series. I'll just be honest with you. You know, I really don't care. Maybe I need to try it again, but I think the OVA is the pinnacle of your enjoyment for Tenchi. That original Tenchi Muyo Real Oki OVA is the pinnacle of your enjoyment for Tenchi. And then you have the 3 movies there, Tenchi Muyo, Tenchi in Love, you know, Daughter of Darkness, the second movie, which is like the shortest movie, and then Tenchi Forever, which is supposed to be like more psychological and more serious, because Tenchi's a harem, Tenchi's very playful, but that movie is very serious. Those Who Hunt Elves, most people that are into 90s anime know what this is about. You know, this is about a group of people from, I don't know that they're not on Earth. Actually, they're probably into some alternate land. It's kind of a little bit of an isekai thing, but basically these guys, they get snatched from wherever the hell they are. One of them is like a musician and all this type of stuff. They get snatched from where they are, and they basically have to catch what do they have to do? Peel the tattoos off of these elves and collect them in order to get back to where something, it's that type of thing. So, and there's a lot of comedy, a lot of goofiness going on with this. And they're pretty much hunting these elves and getting these tattoos off these elves, or whatever it is, the marks off these elves, to try to get back to where they... Tokyo Babylon. I believe there's a Tokyo Babylon. I hope this is not out, because that would be pretty crazy if it was out already and I'm sitting here. But there's supposed to be a Tokyo Babylon. This is Clamp, by the way. They did Rare. They did Chobits, they did Cardcaptor Sakura, Code Geass. They did a lot of things. But yeah, Ray Earth did Tokyo Babylon here, and the TV series is supposed to come out next year, I believe. If it's not, pretty sure it was next year. But Subaru, he's a spiritualist, you know, and he goes and he does. It's a couple of episodes. He goes and he, you know. Yeah, so there's that. Tokyo Revelations. This is the Shinigami Tensei. One of the Shinigami Tensei animes from back in the day. There's one that never came to the West on home media called Digital Devil Story. Right? And Digital Devil Story was named after the game, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? This is Tokyo Revelation. Revelations is actually was the name of the first Persona. So if you know Persona, the game Persona Revelation, I don't know where this would fit into that Persona timeline, but I know Persona was called Revelations. So it was called Revelations Persona, the first Persona. So that whole Revelation thing fits into, yeah. So Tokyo Revelation, this is Shin Megami Tensei. It does all the, all the demonic stuff, and all of that good stuff that y'all like, that people like. It's a pretty cool OVA, you know what I mean? It ain't nothing too crazy, it deals with all that. Somebody's obsessed with demons and obsessed with the devil and all of that, and the story that goes along with that. So Trigun, these stuff that everybody already know, we don't really need to sit up here and talk about. Yeah, everybody knows the hell Trigun is. And the movie Badland Rumble. Twin Signal, I did a little video about this one. There's a chibi version of this guy. Whenever somebody sneeze? I think whenever this kid sneezes, he turns into the bigger version and he switches back. I think it's something like that. Yeah, so there's the mini version, and then there's this badass version of him. And then the OVA is pretty much about the original. Oh, he's a robot, by the way. But the original prototype of Signal, which is the robot's name, that's who they end up having to fight. And that's that dark version right there. You probably can't even see it, but that dark version of him right there in that picture at the bottom is who their antagonist is. This is the original Ushio and Tora. They had the Ushio and Tora from 2017-18. Vampire Hunter D, I have a review that you could check out. Classic movie. Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, more great stuff, but with a even better art style now. Vampire Princess Miyu, love Vampire Princess Miyu. Kind of gets into some spiritualist type of stuff, and of course vampire stuff. A little bit of mystery, thriller, all of that. Virgin Fleet. That stuff. I should check this out again. I really enjoyed this from what I remember. But it does a lot of that girls stuff, the girls and the fan service and all of that. Welcome to the NHK. Most people know what that is. Whisper of the Heart, Ghibli. This was like my first Ghibli official movie that I sat down and watched. Wow, it's hard to navigate this camera at this point. But Wicked City, which I have a review for. Oh man, almost there. So Wicked City, check out that review that I did. Wild Cards, which is pretty interesting. A wind named Amnesia. A wind comes through and just blows out everybody's pretty much blows away everybody's memories and whatever. So it's just, and somebody got their memory back, and it kind of just goes from there. The Wind Rises, which is probably one of the better plane flying movies from Miyazaki. Wolf's Rain, this was pretty good. I remember it tapering off somewhere towards the last quarter, but it was very, very solid for most of the anime. Very solid. X and X 1999. Clamp, more Clamp. Yamamoto Yoko. I'm pretty sure this is based on like a video game of some kind, or the anime might actually be a video game itself. And then I have Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie there. Galaxy Fraulein Yuna, which is just some 90s cheese. And of course, my favorite anime of all time, Yu Yu Hakusho. I've had these sets for a very long time. This was probably this is the first complete anime set that I ever owned. So I have all of it there, all 4 sets, the OVAs, and the Poltergeist Report movie. And I'm not going to talk about that. There's 1,000 Yu Yu Hakusho videos on YouTube already. So guys, this is my entire anime collection as of 2022. I've been collecting for 6 years, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. This is like what, a damn near 3-hour video, so we're gonna cut it off right here. Like the video, comment down below what y'all want to see next. Happy New Year. Thanks for watching Anime Back When.